Welcome, everybody, to the Alchemist Class 41 Demo Day. Woohoo! For all of our return visitors, it is great to reconnect with you. For all of our first-time visitors, welcome. You chose a great demo day for your inaugural kickoff Alchemist Demo Day. And to our sponsors, thank you also for your support. Let me just call out our sponsors. Thank you to Aspire, AWS, Carta, Finstrat Management, Mercury, Microsoft for Startups, Oric, Prescient Security, and Rippling. Let me start by calling out the elephant in the room, which is this new monk-like look that I am sporting. For all of those who have seen me before, you may notice that I don't have hair. That lack of hair is not due to any spiritual advancement on my side. It is because I am going through chemo. During Class 41, I got diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. I'm very hopeful that at the end of the chemo and possible radiation, my treatment will have success. The treatment success rates for Hodgkin's lymphoma are among the best for all cancers. But it has been an interesting experience, and it's caused this new look, the reason why I look like an Indian sadhu. But more than anything else, what the whole experience has underscored for me is the importance of our most important asset, which is time, and how precious time really is. It has also reaffirmed the primacy that Alchemist has placed on backing founders that are using their one precious life to do something incredibly bold. And in this class, which is our largest class to date, you're going to find some of our boldest founders that we have ever backed before. All of the founders in this class are both from teams that are both deeply technical and mission-driven. They're going after big markets, and they're doing it in novel ways. It is those dual hurdles that we think create unicorns, both going after markets that are large, but also going after them in novel, different ways that others are not. All of the founders here are uniquely suited for the ventures that they are pursuing. They are not just pursuing entrepreneurship for the sake of entrepreneurship. They are mission-driven to do something more than just to make money, but to have big impact on the world. I am so excited for you to see these founders. They are some of the most accelerated that we have ever presented or launched at a demo day, and it is quite a sizable class. But before we get to the founders, let us, as always, give you some updates on Alchemist itself. Alchemist now has launched 5 unicorns that started with their first checks from Alchemist itself. 81 companies have been acquired. We don't aim for the companies to be acquired, but we are proud that the companies get acquired by marquee tech darling companies. $16 billion of enterprise value has been created by our companies. Over $6 billion of capital has been raised. And the NPS score for the founders going through the program has on average been 87%. We pride ourselves on this. For people who know NPS, getting a positive score is difficult. Getting above 50% is nearly impossible. So an 87% score is really off the charts. And we pride ourselves on that because every class, some of our best founders are coming from referrals from prior founders that have gone through the Alchemist program. Very often, our applicants are applying to no other programs but Alchemist, which gives our investors signal into proprietary companies to check out. The applications into Alchemist have also increased by 70%. The demand for the program has gone up by 70% over the last year, which is why this class, even though there are 38 companies in the class that we're launching today, and it is our largest class, it is also our most competitive class. We had 1,809 applications that you'll see that we screened through for the 38 companies today. It's roughly a 2.1% admit rate now into Alchemist. And really our intention is to condense down months of diligence that you would normally have to do into just the next few hours, and to make it in a really usable way for you to get to the companies that you might want to check out fairly quickly. But we're really, really honored by the caliber of the companies that are coming into Alchemist, that are applying to Alchemist, and that are joining the select crew that we get to admit. What's different about this class is that it is segmented into 2 buckets. We're going to be showcasing companies that are deep tech, and then the companies that are software and AI. So it's deep tech and AI. Those 2 buckets reflect salient updates to the program that are different this time than we've done in the past. The first is that we now have significant partnerships that allow us to go deeper with deep tech. when you're accelerating deep tech companies, it's fundamentally different than a vertical AI company in terms of how those companies need to develop and the milestones they need to de-risk in order to ensure that they become viable concerns. Right now, we have significant partners that allow us to create deep tech acceleration in a meaningful way. One of those examples is the University of Chicago, where we've launched Alchemist Chicago, which is a joint venture between the University of Chicago and Alchemist, where companies get access to University of Chicago's resources to aid their acceleration. These aren't necessarily University of Chicago students or alums. They're companies, though, that can use the University of Chicago's resources and labs and networks in order to accelerate their development. Those include things like Duality, which is the first quantum accelerator that was out of the University of Chicago, as well as resources around clean tech, material science, and infrastructural AI, which really creates meaningful value add for deep tech companies. The companies get access to resources both in San Francisco and Chicago, and they jointly can spend time between the two to accelerate their development. You're going to see some of the fruits of that partnership for the first time in this demo day, and you'll see how profound some of the companies are on the deep tech and quantum side that we haven't had before in the past in Alchemist. There are other partners, too, that contribute to this success. The Research Development Innovation Council in Qatar, or QRDI, has backed $1 million per startup that's a tech-forward company that has emerging market roots in a joint venture with Alchemist. We have a new initiative to fund those companies in more significant ways. And a bunch of other partners that we countlessly have all been involved, including many of our LPs that contribute resources beyond cash that have strategic assets that benefit our companies. So we're thrilled to see these partnerships bear real fruit to build real ventures that are creating significant technology-forward innovation in deep tech ways. And you'll see that today. The second bucket of companies you're going to see are what we are just calling the AI bucket. But what's shifted about the program is that it has become more agentic and modular to allow for deep personalization in the program, meaning the same company can go through the Alchemist 6-month program and have a much more catered experience than what we've had in the past. This has been the result of a few deliberate changes, one of which is that the network now has become so large that we have added an agentic layer on top of it. So the network has grown 4x over the last 8 years, and there's over 13,000 meaningful corporate customer contacts, mentors, investors, and other service providers that are there to aid the startups. And we have an interface that the companies use called the Vault that they use to accelerate their development from a software perspective using our software. And now that has become agentic. And so you can use really a chatbot interface to really get the most out of the network in really profound ways. That has been aided by some of the portfolio companies you're going to see today. And what that's allowed is for much deeper acceleration than what we've seen in the past. If you combine the volume of applications that we've had with these improvements, it'll explain some of the things that you're going to see today. You're going to see companies with more traction than we've ever had demo, including companies like TurboLaw that has more than $10 million of bookings coming into demo day today, and companies that have landed really profound customers for procurement events, some of which I'm listing here. We pride ourselves on industrial innovation, and so you'll see some of these marquee customers from an industrial perspective have done pilots and procurement events with our companies, including Procter & Gamble, Con Edison, Bayer, Edison, and IBM has already funded 2 of the quantum companies that you're going to see today as well. The curriculum also has become more modular. The experience of each program is different depending upon what they need. And so beyond just the Vault, the actual content, the mentors, and the resources are all catered in a much more individualized way to what each company needs. That modularization has allowed us to scale. It is because of that we can actually do things in a more scalable way and not just preserve, but heighten the quality of the program. So even though the experience is more personalized, undergirding everything is a community in-person experience wrapping around the accelerator. So the other big shift is that we have gone back to a San Francisco first program. All of the companies are first encouraged to participate in person in San Francisco. Across the 38 companies and the 1,800 applications, you'll see companies represented or countries represented from 11 nationalities. There's 11 countries around the world that are represented in this class, but they all have come back to San Francisco for the experience of the program itself. That community experience is going back to our roots. Magic happens when people are together, and it is something that you can't create on your own as a startup. And so we are thrilled to have that in-person community back. I oftentimes say this, but don't confuse the megaphone me for the muscle. These 38 companies are supported by 99 coaches and workshop leaders that have been working tirelessly with these companies to get them to the point where you're going to see them today. I always wish we had more time to showcase all of those 99 individuals, but because of the scale of what we're doing, we don't. But we will call out some of them here as well for you to see. I am just really standing on their shoulders, and it is a blessing for us to have the caliber of the mentors that we have to coach the next generation of great unicorns through Alchemist. This is a momentous time. It is a moment of inflection for Alchemist. It is a moment of inflection for the world with how quickly things are changing. And so this is also a time of transition where this will be my last class as CEO of the operating company of Alchemist, and we will be bringing on a new leadership team for the operating company, born out of the team that's been supporting our companies for the last 5 years. It's an amazing team that has architected this new approach that you are going to see today. And so for the next class, I'll be transitioning as chair, and there'll be a new leadership team in charge of the operating company for Alchemist. But today, the focus is on our companies that are launching, the 38 companies. And while it is a momentous day where it's the first time that many of the companies are going to be open for outside conversation, it's also really a celebration of 6 months of intense hard work. And the best way to thank us or the companies is to really connect into the companies that you're interested in, or to connect the companies into other people that you know might be fits for them. And so just to go over how that process works, let us give you an overview of the Vault. You'll notice that there's a button called Connect. Connect will be your way for us to connect you directly into the founders for anybody that you want to meet or chat with. There is a button next to Connect called Reserve. Reserve is our gift to high conviction investors to mitigate the situation where the big institutions will crowd out the smaller checks. The way Reserve works is that if you have high conviction in an investment, we ask that you click on Reserve, and we will in turn ask the founders to prioritize your interest above others. In return, we're asking you to make a decision within 7 days. So you need to also respect the founder and get back to them with a yes or no within 7 days to stay within our good graces. Now, in addition to these standard features, there are some beloved features for our virtual demo day participants to give you more control. The first is that you have the ability to watch any of the pitches yourselves in whichever order you want. So if you click on the watch video link next to the company's name, you can drive yourself and jump through any of the pitches without having to go into sequential order. There's also a live chat where you can message Alchemist directly and we can help you out in real time. If you have non-real-time feedback for Alchemist, you can also click on the Feedback to Alchemist button in the upper right. You can also use that button if you have feedback for any portfolio company, but please mention the company's name if you give us the feedback via Feedback to Alchemist in the upper right. Without further ado, let's kick off Alchemist Class 41. We're going to do it in segments. The first segment we're going to showcase is our AI forward companies. Next will be deep tech, and then we'll have alums. So please welcome the AI companies from Alchemist Class 41.
AI writes source code 10 times faster than your software engineer. But here's the catch. Is it production ready? No. Here comes SciTester to help you. I'm Shine, CEO co-founder of SciTester. As per GitHub, 55% of the commits are AI assisted now. Gartner says 40% more bugs in the year 2026. Software development has picked up the speed, but the QA not. There are various reasons behind it. One, 10 times more source code is coming on a daily basis as compared to the past. The other side, you don't get access to the source code, the target software for the QA products. The run, you need creation of a test case, execution of the test case, you need AI tokens, which are expensive affair. And when there is a major change in the target software, the test cases fails. Here's the thing that most of the people misses out. Verification and validation, you need a deterministic system under the hood. Unfortunately, LLMs are not. LLM has a very basic nature to bypass the route and find the target to the same target position, which is a major red flag. How does SciTester deal with it? How SciTester solves this issue, entire issue? SciTester is built a custom language model for a deterministic QA. This is not a LLM wrapper. SciTester takes the URL of the target software, takes all the available documentation, build a context. SciTester can propose various test cases to the end user and add them into a test plan and run it continuously, which improves the quality of the software testing drastically. Whenever there is a major change in the target software, SciTester recognizes it and fixes the test case accordingly. Let's have a look at the competition landscape. You can use programming language like Selenium, Java, C#, and various programming languages to build a script-based test automation. They are hugely manual. It takes a lot of time to create it and maintain it. Then comes the enterprise products like Tosca or Ranorex. They are super expensive and they are yesterday's product. They do not use AI there. Then comes the LLM itself and LLM wrappers. They are fundamentally non-deterministic and AI token cost also involved in that. So SciTester is the clear winner here. No AI token cost, SciTester is deterministic and auto heal in place. Let's see how SciTester has been adopted by the industry. We have 3 paying customers, $100,000 ARR, 2 POCs with enterprises, Siemens and Eli Lilly, and most importantly, we started with 1 department of Siemens and we are in talk with 5 departments of Siemens now. We are doing RFP with state compensation from California. We are in talk with the Switzerland IT department. The team who built it lived through the pain of this QA. Myself got 25 years of experience, worked with Siemens, Volkswagen and Switzerland IT department. When I worked with the Switzerland IT department, various pain points came across and these pain points are addressed correctly in SciTester. Darvish is our CTO, is the AI architect, very strong open source contributor and who is helping us to build our AI model under the hood. Hari has got 30 years of experience in the US based sales and marketing in the healthcare industry. We are a part of Alchemist Accelerator. We won 2025 European Innovation Council Award. AI writes the code, SciTester makes it production ready. We need your support. Thank you very much.
In March 2026, Amazon lost 6 million orders to 2 critical outages. And the reason was the lack of AI coding due diligence. And their fix was to have manual engineer approval for every AI change. That's not a solution, that's a step back. Hi, I'm Sahana Nagabhushan, founder and CEO of DevPlaza, the production readiness platform for the AI coding era. I've built development, testing, and API platforms at Fidelity and Workday that were used by thousands of engineers. Now I'm building for everyone that AI just outpaced. $2.41 trillion is the US cost of poor software quality before AI went mainstream. Now it's way higher. 60% of AI failures are only caught in production. Every CTO is dealing with this problem right now. AI coding tools on one side that are generating the code really fast. On the other side, there are live production environments with real customers and consequences. In between, no quality gates, no security checks, and no governance. Teams are shipping way faster, but breaking more. DevPlaza sits in that gap. When code is generated, DevPlaza automatically orchestrates the entire software lifecycle. The output is code that is actually ready for production every time. Full software lifecycle orchestration, including governance, full software lifecycle progress view, no tools and vendors lock-in, and it works with tools that teams are already used to and love. We have 2 entry points to meet builders wherever they like. One is via our dashboard and platform itself, and another one is via our Cloud Code skills that are integrated with our platform. Cloud Code by itself is not going to give production readiness, but DevPlaza plus Cloud Code equals production readiness. We're not just complementing Cloud Code through this integration, we're making it way better. With either entry point, builders and executives and their customers get exactly what they strive for: production-ready software. Companies spend up to $16 million a year in 3 years trying to rebuild a solution of this sort in-house only to get partial return on investment. DevPlaza gives back that time and money for builders and teams to actually focus on core business development rather than their SDLC foundations. We have 3 paying customers, $5,560 in ARR, and 6 freemium customers converting to paid in the next 3 months. The big one, 5 enterprises are evaluating us: Bayer, Honeywell, Nvidia, eBay, Tech Mahindra. Even one conversion at our $100,000 ACV target means a 20 times ARR jump overnight. The proof is already here. We are at that inflection point. We have $5 million in total sales pipeline and 5 strategic partnerships, including Datadog, Checkmarx, and TestCube. Our fintech customer told us that no other product gives them the full software lifecycle visibility the way that DevPlaza does, and that they have a 30% increase in their velocity. Another director of engineering told us that DevPlaza easily saves them 20 to 30% of their time. Most solutions are either low on production readiness, or they're point solution, or they generate prototypes. They're just not enough on their own. We saw that from Amazon's incidents. Nobody else sits where DevPlaza sits: full lifecycle coverage and high production readiness. The TAM is $2.41 trillion and AI is making it bigger every day. 8 million users on Lovable alone, millions of others on other vibe coding tools, but no one has a path to production readiness today. DevPlaza does, and we are live. Our team has lived the pain. We've earned the domain expertise and built and scaled these kinds of solutions multiple times in big tech companies before. We know what production ready looks like. So, AI generates the code, DevPlaza makes it production ready. We are solving a critical $1 trillion problem for the software industry. Join us. Thank you.
Soya and I are PhD founders. Our years of experience has shown that to solve the hardest problems, we need a combination of humans and AI. Soya got her PhD at MIT. I'm a professor of computer science at Columbia University. We've validated our research in production at many high-tech companies. Since January, we've talked to hundreds of executives. Guess what? They're already using AI to boost productivity at work, but they're still struggling with one question. How can AI create new value? They're already seeing AI save money, mostly for automating routine work: HR, IT, payroll, compliance, and other back-office tasks. And there's a lot of companies already in the AI automation game. But what they really care about is creating new value. These are strategic initiatives like growth acceleration, product expansion, RevOps, and other new opportunities. That's where Accelerator comes in. We understand that value creation is different from routine work. Routine work is linear and you can understand it from the data. Creating value is iterative, and we need human expertise to understand things like intent, incentives, judgment, strategy, and just the nature of where value comes from. For example, at Capital One, they had a product expansion initiative. Despite lots of AI, it was bogged down in alignment problems. But Accelerator can discover new approaches, saving $1.4 million in time to launch alone. But even after launch, it keeps iterating with you, using AI to find new ways to improve. It's driven by AI, but still human for critical inputs. At its core, it's a self-improving feedback system. First, AI leads a research phase, structured by a context graph. Then AI generates hypotheses of what to do next. This is a difficult step, so we apply our own chain of thought model to your business operations. We implement with agentic coding, and we evaluate with agentic data analysis and human judgment. And we keep doing this over and over again as we continue to improve. We've shown that this is 10 times faster than humans alone. We have a pipeline for reaching 1 million in ARR in the next 18 months, including Capital One as a recurring customer and multiple paid pilots. We're a team of 5 with research and business experience. We're supported by multiple executives who believe in our approach of self-improving AI for value creation.
Hi, this is Satosh Saraswini, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Planium. At Planium, we're bridging the AI gap between code completeness and enterprise readiness. I have 16 years in tech, and I've worked across companies such as Intuit and Teradata, where I've pioneered the adoption of application and data platforms that powered many core services. My co-founder and CTO is Marcelo DeSalis, who has 25 years across gaming, fintech, and telecom industries, building products and scaling them to millions of users. We have known each other since working at Intuit. Our technology advisors are also our customers, but we're also backed by industry-leading experts from product and go-to-market. 42% code is AI generated, but AI falls back on delivery because code reviews have doubled, security vulnerabilities have doubled. As a result, validation of code in enterprise settings becomes a huge bottleneck. We have had conversations with 244 developers and decision makers. They all agree that developers lose 15 to 20 hours a week making changes to environment, infrastructure, and validating code. This is because they're dependent on CI/CD systems, third-party orchestration tools, and teams. This is about $300 million per year lost in wasted engineering time per enterprise. Planio fixes that. Planio bridges the gap between code and runtime infrastructure environments, where developers will be able to instantly generate and customize workspaces, fix issues through simple conversations, and get contextual analysis of their existing setups through personalization. Things like this will not only help them to code with speed, but also deploy with confidence. We have had hundreds of customer discovery calls that led to our prototypes and our product roadmap. We're also validating a POC with a good mix of mid-market and enterprise customers. As we are working with beta customers and our pilot users, they're seeing real gains because they're able to fix their environment, code, and infrastructure configuration drifts early on in the software development lifecycle. Existing competitors have the need to depend on static workflows, tab hop between different tools, and repositories. This is some time for developers. Planio is built with agentic AI from the ground up. Imagine an assistant sitting right next to a developer and walking developers through runtime intelligence, providing suggestions and fixes, and reconciliations of those errors. There are about 4.5 million companies in software development that account for a global TAM of $162 billion. Our focus, though, is to target Series A and beyond companies in North America and Europe that depend on application development and deployment, debugging, and infrastructure management. Our business model is a good mix of value and usage-based pricing, as we target both developers and decision makers of high-growth startups. This ensures that there is accessibility at every level, especially in the AI era, and helps us grow with our customers. Our buyers are software engineering leaders and above, such as managers, directors, and vice presidents of engineering. Our users are software engineers, leads, and architects that use AI-generated code in microservice settings. Our go-to-market strategy is a good mix of tops-down and bottoms-up approach, but we emphasize on product-led growth as we move from awareness by creating dev social media, acquiring users through freemium and open source models, expanding our go-to-market strategy through building strong API documentation, and also monetizing as we grow our community presence. Folks, AI is changing how software is getting built, but runtime intelligence should keep up too. It's not about specialization anymore, it's about agility. Observe, respond, and recalibrate. Thank you.
And that wraps up our DevTool companies. Next up, we have our vertical AI companies. These startups aren't just using AI as a feature, but rebuilding entire workflows from the ground up within specific industries. These companies are tackling procurement and vendor management, enterprise AI governance, supply chain decision-making, financial services automation, and unlocking intelligence inside high-value private networks. To kick off this section, please welcome Glidely.
Hi, I am Shu, CEO and co-founder of Glidely. For 7 years, I sold to factory buyers at Keyence. the Japan's #1 factory automation brand. I was in the top 1% as a salesperson. Every buyer I met had the same problem: to keep the manufacturing line running or cost cuts. They couldn't do both. Why? In a car manufacturing company, 1 hour of downtime costs $2.3 million. It's huge. So buyers change nothing. Even they pay 10 to 20% more than the market price every year. The risk of stopping the manufacturing line is too big. But it is not impossible. It just looks impossible. Now is the time that everything is changing in our favor. 72% of CPOs said cost cutting is their top job. Downtime cost is up 62% in just 5 years. MRO spend is up 20% in just 1 year. The pressure is here. The tools are not. So Glidery solves these 3 things. Only we do all 3. 1. Match parts. Our AI checks every data of the parts used in the manufacturing line. 2. Find vendors. We sort thousands of catalogs in seconds. 3. Step by step. 1 SKU at a time. No risk to the manufacturing line. 2 weeks to 5 minutes. Type the part number or upload the bill of materials BOM. Sunny, our AI agent, finds the same parts. RFQs go to your trading partners, the ones you already use. The replies come back in one table. You just place the order. For manufacturing companies uses Glidery today in POC. 3 industries: car manufacturing, biotech, and retail. The real sourcing, real spend under NDA. Annual contract value is $25,000 to $100,000. 10 to 20% cost cut. Payback in 90 days. And every time we save the manufacturing line, $2.3 million risk. 3 unfair challenges that we have to the next 30 customers. Experience. I have a warm network at every Japanese factory in the United States. XDMZ Mori, my co-founder, yes, brings the machine to world. Jetro, they have 7,000 Japanese US companies in their network that we can reach out via them. Today, only Japanese engineers in the United States can do this network. $300,000 per engineer every year, weeks for one substitute, warranty risk every time. With Glidery, 25 to 100,000 for the whole team. 5 minutes for one substitute, warranty stays safe. And ChatGPT cannot do this. Sensor data is behind the login pages, not on the web. 20 years of work in one product inside Japan's #1 factory automation world. Me, 7 years at Kien's top 1%, my know-how trained our AI agent, Sunny. Yes, 13 years choosing sensors to keep the manufacturing lines running. He built our catalog database. The trade-off is over. Thank you.
I'm Taylor Cordova, co-founder of Havilo AI, the intelligence layer for the world's most valuable networks. Picture this. A founder's on a call and a Fortune 500 deal is dying the classic procurement death. Before the founder can panic, Havilo has surfaced that one person in the network who's closed the buyer before, drafts a message that earns a yes, and gets it to the founder before their call is done. A graduate student publishes a paper on crop health imaging. Meanwhile, an alum startup is struggling with disease detection in humid climates. They don't know each other. Havilo sees both, connects them, and a paper becomes a product. That's engineering serendipity at scale, and it's how Silicon Valley actually works. The mechanism has a name, collision density, and it's what I researched at UC Berkeley. Until now, every great ecosystem has been built on luck. Universities sit on the densest, high-trust networks on Earth, and AI just made that the most defensible asset in private markets. But most of the value remains trapped in private memory and rooms the right people aren't in. Higher education is under existential pressure. Trust is collapsing, federal dollars are getting yanked, and their research breakthroughs are being monetized by everyone but them. They know their networks will be their saving grace, which is why 10 elite universities have engaged in the last 2 weeks. UC Berkeley and University of Washington in front. Havilo operationalizes those networks. Universities first, expansion through adjacent networks, and eventually the capital that flows through them. Solving this isn't easy. I used to be the one doing these matches by hand. An alum would ask to connect with Turkish startups. Is a startup Turkish because it's based there, sells there, founded by Turks? But a founder is not Turkish just because their startup is Turkish. So what makes a founder Turkish? Is it they live there, born there, phone number, name, descent? Any RAG vector search or frontier model orchestration collapses under that query alone. And that's just basic retrieval. Most users don't even know what they're asking. Our reasoning engine understands what someone truly needs, not what they typed. And what's even harder, it predicts what should happen before anyone needs to ask. We've spent the last year building in and alongside Alchemist. Our CTO did AI at Amazon, and we kept finding gaps in the leading research. We didn't publish, we shipped. Network transformation as a service is $1 billion business, but owning the layer itself, that's a $100 billion opportunity. Incumbents record outcomes after the markets name them. Havilo sits inside the conditions that create them. Customer pains emerging across 3 founders and 3 different institutions before anyone knows to call it a market. That data doesn't exist anywhere else. It's produced inside the work that founders run on Havilo. Discovery, pitch, customers, hires, not because we asked, but because the product is useful before the data is valuable. Institutional trust becomes the distribution. Founder operating flow becomes the data, and capital routing becomes the expansion, because the system that surfaces the opportunity is the most rational to allocate against it. Venture has sold founders, take our money, get our network for the last 50 years. We made that network programmable. The firms that differentiated capital and conviction will plug in and compound. And the firms whose network was their moat just learned they never had one. Havilo doesn't observe the private market. It will be the layer through which it gets made. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Katsu, CEO of Engineers. We are building AI governance gateway. Through conversations with more than 50 security and governance leaders, we realized something. Security mature companies trust Microsoft Copilot, but employees still need other AI coworkers, cloud, cursor, colleagues. The demand is real and growing fast. But there is a problem. No unified governance layer exists for third-party AI coworkers. Security team can block AI tools, but only governance can safely enable them. Evidence is the AI governance gateway enabling safe AI adoption. We do 2 things. First, use case governance. Policies tailored to each AI use case built for future regulations. Second, runtime control. Warn or block violation with 0 workflow friction. Here's how we do this. First, compliance team define policies by AI use case. Second, AI usage is tracked across users, tools, and use cases. Third, runtime governance warns or blocks violation in real time. And finally, audit evidence is generated continuously with no separate prep. We are builders and AI governance practitioners. We built enterprise system at scale at the Japanese unicorn. Now we are building AI governance infrastructure. We are both ISO 42000 auditors actively involved in emerging AI governance standards. Here's our competitors. All the competitors, including Kong and Polkey, focus on security. We focus on governance. At the use case level, build compliance native. That's evidence. This is a large and emerging category. AI governance infrastructure alone is a multi-billion-dollar market. Our go-to-market is simple. We land with one AI use case, then expand across organization. Pilot can start small with a seat-based pricing, but we believe that enterprise expansion can grow roughly from $20,000 ACV to over $100,000 over time. We started 4 months ago, and we already got an early US traction from a cold outreach. We have a pilot scheduled for June with a 250 employees company, and we are in discussion with 2 additional pilots, including a 1,700 employees enterprise. We are already SOC 2 Type 2 attested. Over the next 12 months, we'll evolve from MVP to an enterprise-ready AI governance platforms with a clear path to $1 million ARR. Join us in defining how the world governs AI. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ivan, co-founder and CEO of HubTalk AI. We built compliance-first voice AI platform for financial institutions. Already at $7 million ARR, profitable and deployed in more than 70 enterprises globally. We have automated over 260 million customer interactions without raising external capital. Financial institutions spend billions on voice operations, but compliance risk still blocks large-scale AI automation. Costs are rising. Turnover can easily reach 60%, and even small mistakes can lead to huge penalties. HubTalk enables full automation of customer communications, with strict compliance control at every step. We use data-driven templates enriched with behavior of top-performing agents, combined with real-time compliance monitoring and enterprise-grade deployment. This allows enterprises to go live in days with production-ready performance from day one. Globally, we have reached $7 million ARR with 85% gross margin and full profitability. With 113,000 average revenue per user and 2.5 months payback, our unit economics scale efficiently. We are growing fast in the United States, from $1,000 to $70,000 in MRR in under a year, starting with a $3 billion market in debt relief and mortgage. We can launch fully functional AI agents using pre-built templates based on top-performing workflows. Enterprises hate pilots. They need results from day one. Our agents are designed to deliver that immediately. Every conversation is monitored in real time by a secondary AI agent that ensures compliance. It detects violations, flags risks, and provides a full audit trail. This is what makes AI usable in regulated industries. Following each call, 2 reports are generated: a compliance report and a communication quality assessment. The platform supports both private cloud and on-premise deployment, ensuring full data control and enterprise-grade security. We use optimized models reducing dependency on cloud providers. This allows us to maintain a strong unit economics with high margins. With over 260 million interactions processed, we identify patterns across different customer segments. This allows our agents to continuously improve performance. As a result, they often outperform traditional contact centers in conversion. Our funding team built and scaled leading banks and fintechs from scratch. Now we're building AI for financial markets, backed by senior advisors from leading United States financial institutions. We have validated our solution with leading international banks and fintechs, and are now growing through enterprise deals in the United States. This round is to scale a proven model in the world's largest market. Join us.
Thank you, Vertical AI founders. Next, we're going to keep on this train and hear from 3 more Vertical AI startups: InstaAgent, PatentText, and AdRich. After that, we're going to hear from 3 startups all tackling a different problem within health tech: ACX, Paycare AI, and Rena Health. And finally, to close out this section, we're going to hear from a very special startup working at the intersection of agtech, sustainability, and fishing with Buoyfish. But without further ado, here is InstaAgent.
Hi, I'm Kyle, co-founder of InstaAgent, YC Spring 26, and Alchemist Class 41. We help consumer brands scale their social media marketing across hundreds of personas. That is, we turn a single marketing brief into hundreds of personalized creatives distributed through niche social accounts to reach the right audiences. First, on our traction. We reached 1 million ARR in 10 months and are on track to double it to 2 million in 4 months. That is by end of this month. We got here bootstrapped and are already profitable. The second 1 million ARR came a lot faster because of our shift of go-to-market strategies to enterprises. Our first 1 million came from SMBs. That gave us a fast way to validate demand and iterate on the workflow. Now growth is accelerating as we move up market to enterprise customers like P&G and Nestle. ACV has doubled from around 5K to 10K plus, and 3-month net dollar retention has also improved significantly from around 50% for SMBs to 100% plus for enterprises. So what are we solving? AI made it easy to create hundreds of ads, but it didn't make them work. Before AI, a team might create 5 creatives per campaign because production was manual, expensive, and slow. With AI, they can generate 50 creatives quickly and cheaply, but most of them are just generic AI slop. With InstaAgent, we deliver more tailored, personalized campaigns. We turn one brief into persona-specific distribution. The input is a marketing brief, for example, brand guidelines, featured products, campaign goals, etc. From that, we create hundreds of personalized creatives, match them with the right niche social accounts, and distribute them to the right audiences. We track performances in real time, scaling what works, and replacing what does not. Our business model is a tiered subscription based on creative volume and distribution scope. Now let's have a quick look at our demo to see how we avoid AI slop. Our creation process is based on 3 main pillars: persona, trend, and proven formats. First, on persona, we hyper-segment target audiences into niche personas, which makes the content a lot more intentional and contextual. We then find the latest trending topics. We also reference viral videos, break down their components such as hooks and call to actions. And the results will be the output video on the right. Quality, personalized content instead of random AI output. Finally, on the team, we are all repeat founders who lived this problem firsthand. I'm the CEO. I worked at Goldman Sachs for 8 years covering China tech companies such as ByteDance and Alibaba. I also co-founded a gaming startup that onboarded more than 1 million users in a month via socials. Our CTO is an XYZ founder and Forbes 30 under 30. Our CPO, Colin, graduated from Oxford with a math degree and is a repeat founder who was acqui-hired for his last startup. More importantly, we have known each other for around 20 years since middle school. Through many ups and downs, we have built deep trust in each other. If you are interested, let me know. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Flake, CEO of PatentText, the IP platform for startups built for the speed of invention. Our AI agents integrate into a startup's tech stack, helping them understand what's patentable and what's not. We use this unique access to automatically generate patent portfolios, replacing the law firm model. The IP industry is failing startups. IP is one of the best ways for a company to build value, and startups are innovating faster than ever, yet they file far fewer patents than large corporates, missing out on valuable opportunities. But I don't blame them. Right now, IP is a messy, founder-driven collaboration between business, technology, and legal teams. Why file when it's expensive, time-consuming, and slow? I've been working on these problems my entire career. I've represented hundreds of venture-backed startups and talked to hundreds more. That's why I know PatentText is the solution. Our platform includes 3 key components: autonomous in-house IP counsel, an IP control center that helps leadership align on the patent portfolio, and expert legal execution to help them file with the USPTO. With PatentText, every startup can afford to evaluate their IP and file without breaking the bank. We launched a few weeks ago with clear momentum. Our pipeline represents $1.12 million in potential revenue. The competitive landscape is fragmented with no true end-to-end solutions. We make money as a combination of subscription and usage-based fees, resulting in a $20K average account value per year per startup. This means that our beachhead market is worth $520 million for US deep tech startups alone, as part of a larger $90 billion global market. Our go-to-market focuses on partnerships, referrals, and sponsored events, replicating the success of companies that have dominated the startup ecosystem. We have 3 pending partnerships with more on the way. I built a great team to help execute this vision: a CTO with product chops, an AI engineer from Caltech, and a strategic angel from the highest reaches of patent law. We expect $2.5 million in recognized revenue over the next 12 months. Please reach out if you'd like to partner with us to help your portfolio companies execute their IP. Thank you for listening.
We are AdRich and we are enabling a smarter way for brands to connect to their customers. Today, there's a lot of data up until the retail store, but once the product leaves the store, it's sort of a black box. Product consumption remains a mystery, and brands are basing their decisions on sales data, but sales is not consumption. So we said, what if products could talk and tell the brands how, when, and where it's being used? We've developed the first of its kind smart consumption platform that uses IoT and AI and has a smart label that goes outside of any product, has a unique sensing algorithm to capture when, how much, and more importantly, when products are running low and need a self-reorder. It talks Bluetooth and autonomously collects the data into our cloud, where we present the dashboard to our brands for them to see in real time how, when, and where their product is being used. So essentially, we have now closed the feedback loop from the end users to the brands with real-time, accurate usage data. And for you as a consumer, The next time you run out of coffee or shampoo, you'll find one at the door. Welcome to Zero Touch Shopping. We're not just building a hardware or a software. What we're building is a premium consumption data set of physical products and consumables that never existed before. This dataset, when integrated into other datasets, can create a massive data lake that can now power all the AI and LLMs of today. We are live in market, and these are our incredible paying customers. We also have channel partnerships with Amazon and Fujitsu, who are helping us go to market and connect with brands. In terms of go to market, our strategy has been land and expand. Our beachhead market is market research, and we are cash flow positive today. We have signed pilots in the B2B and B2C smart replenishment space, and we can also expand into healthcare, pharmacy, electronic manufacturing. Basically, wherever there is consumption monitoring or automated inventory control, our technology applies. So incredibly huge market. A fun fact, people run out of peanut butter between 10 and 11:30 in the night. Brands love this data for innovation, marketing, and product development. And in smart replenishment, we have proven a 33% increase in lifetime value and a 50% increase in repeat orders through frictionless auto reordering of refills, and hence also enabling sustainability. Clearly, the data and the value of the data offsets the cost of the technology, and hence our business model reflects the same. Our product is data, and we charge for that. We charge the brands and the retailers access to our platform for that incredible data set. And long term, we can also license our platform because we have 8 granted patents creating a royalty revenue stream. We have an incredible team with the right blend of business, technology, and industry acumen. I'm Aditi Aji, co-founder and CEO of Adrich, and I started this company when I was a student in Carnegie Mellon. Today, it's a global company, and we'd love for you to join us in this journey. We are building the world's thinnest, smallest physical AI. So join us and help us get to the next level. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dennis, and I'm CEO of 56, and we're building AI-based neuroimaging assistant for radiologists. And first of all, let me introduce you a few terrible things. More than 10 million people die from brain pathology every year, and at the same time, billions of people are affected of brain disorders. And do you think that's happened because of unqualified doctors? The answer is no. The main problem are radiology shortage and burnout. Because doctors must see hundreds of brain scans every day, that's why urgent cases can easily get overlooked. And then AI entered radiology. And everyone thought its main challenge was helping doctors find pathologies. But here is an insight. Doctors don't really need it. They can do that without extra tools. The real problem is everything around that. The reality is simple. 90% of brain scans are healthy. And still doctors spend hours on repetitive tasks, measuring, comparing slices, checking with previous studies, writing a report, and that's where we can help them. Let me explain it with a simple example. What do you see on the screen? A cat, right? That's how doctors evaluate the patients. They have no problem at all. But what if I will ask you to do the same for pictures number 2? Much harder, right? Pretty noisy. And what if I will show you where to look? That's a different story, right? Pretty obvious. That's what our AI do for doctors. We reduce noise, remove repetitive tasks, and help them focus on what matters most. How it works? Our system automatically sorts healthy cases, performs measurements, generates reports, and then compares with previous studies. Doctors just should check it, press a button, and go to the next patient. We already tested our solution on retrospective studies with a pretty good result. We finished our measurements model, and we will start our pilot in the next month. And our business model is pretty simple: pay-per-scan or subscription-based model. We focus on mid and large-size hospitals with ED and radiology department, teleradiology service, and imaging centers. The main questions: why now? The answer is because young and rapidly growing market. And the most important thing, technologies are matter. And current narrow AI unicorns make up less than 15% of US and Japan market. A lot of opportunity here. Our next step, we'll finish our R&D and start FDA certification process. And our goal is obtaining FDA clearance by the late 2027. In the end, a few words about our team. We know each other for a long time. We are friends, and in the past, we already built and launched 5 medical AI products, 20 different pathologies with over 10 million patients annually. And we've already made our mistakes. We learn a lot, and we know what doctors really want. Thank you so much, and let's keep in touch. Bye.
Hi, I'm Himza, and I'm the founder of PayCare AI. We're automating radiology practices from front desk to scanners. Around 2 years ago, I left McKinsey to buy my own radiology practice and become a full-time operator. As a new operator, I noticed something strange. Every morning, our schedules were filled with patients, but by the end of the day, our machines were only utilized 38% of the time. This was interesting because on the patient side, the demand for radiology services has never been higher. In fact, 20% of patients that need a scan are never scheduled for it. So, why is this? I did some root cause analysis and quickly realized that our workflows are very complex and manual. One step missed is one appointment slot wasted. This is what my front desk does on a daily basis. Let's take reminders. If they forget to remind patients of their appointment, that patient will be a no-show. Now, I've tried to eliminate these manual processes and fix the missed steps by exploring existing solutions. After all, we have been hearing of the leaps and bounds of innovation that's happening in the healthcare currently. Unfortunately, I quickly realized none of them worked with the imaging systems that radiology uses. For some context, unlike most other healthcare specialties, radiology doesn't use EHR systems like Epic. We use imaging systems called RIS and PACS. Now, I'm a 4th generation engineer though, and I didn't take no for an answer. I started building my own solutions in-house. It went so well that in less than a year, my practice went from needing 8 full-time employees to operating with just 2 part-time employees. And once other radiology practices started to show interest, I realized that this workflow problem was not a Himza problem. It was an industry problem. And so, PayCare AI started. Now, at locations that use us, we're able to schedule 97% of the appointments, increase utilization to over 50%, and save $500K per location. Keep in mind, though, that this is only front office automation, just step 1 of our big vision. Our vision is a completely automated radiology practice, one where patients can get scanned 24/7, one that's not bottlenecked by the administrative and clinical staff. And the market for this big vision is over $1 trillion. But let's go back to today. Our wedge in is a $32 billion problem that independent centers like mine have. Very quickly, every year, due to the patient no-shows, the staff cost, and we lose $2.6 million of operational waste. There are 12,000 independent centers. That makes it a $32 billion problem. But this is all McKinsey talk. I'm also an entrepreneur, and execution matters. It's been 6 months since we launched our product, and we're live at 4 locations, doing $200K plus in ARR. All of our existing customers have more locations. That's an additional $400K of revenue. This is where we are now, but we're racing to get to a bigger goal. Self-run radiology practices, accessible for patients, profitable for owners, and first we start with the back office automation. Then we support technicians to be able to scan remotely, and then we incrementally build until we're building or buying radiology practices and converting them to self-run centers. Now, we're so confident in our vision because of our team. We're not looking for product market fit. Both Ravi and I have independently owned and operated our own imaging centers. We've lived this pain, and we couldn't find the solution, so we were forced to build the product that we needed. Please reach out if you'd like to learn more. Thank you.
Almost everybody watching will at some point find themselves in an emergency room, either as a patient or as a caregiver. And the way things are today, it almost certainly won't be a great experience. Long waits, poor communication, and of course you or someone you care about isn't feeling well. And frankly, the situation isn't much better for us ER doctors. We're overworked, understaffed, and information overloaded. The net effect of all this is pretty predictable. Patients aren't happy, so millions walk out every year, taking billions of potential revenue with them. Staffing retention is incredibly challenging, and we're already 3 million clinicians short in this country. And all this leads to medical errors and poor charting. That means that the ER is one of the highest malpractice exposures in all of medicine. Now, all this boils down to a very simple bandwidth problem. The number and needs of our patients far exceeds the bandwidth of our clinical teams. And it is this bandwidth problem that Rena was built to solve. Rena is the AI for ER workflows. We accelerate ER operations from registration all the way through to disposition. At its core, Rena is a virtual clinical teammate. Think of it like a superhuman medical resident that talks to patients on their phones while they wait. No new hardware, no new software, and no interruption of existing workflows. Rena understands the patient's clinical context, speaks in their language, and is always available. And then Rena turns those conversations into actions, producing medication reconciliation, risk stratification, disposition planning, and so much more. And Rena deeply integrates with any FHIR-compatible EMR, such as Epic or Cerner. The effect of all this is transformative. The ER's throughput jumps by 20% because Rena turns an environment that processes patients in series to an environment where they're processed in parallel. Rena can interview the entire waiting room at once and reassess every exam room at the same time. And because throughput is higher, fewer patients walk out. Millions of revenue are recaptured. And because the team's bandwidth has been expanded, we don't need to depend on expensive stopgap hires like travel nurses. And lastly, because Rena gathers and meticulously documents all the critical clinical information, we vastly reduce the surface area for medical error and we mitigate against malpractice. We've made tremendous progress so far. We've been trialed by teams in 5 sites across 3 states. Hundreds of patients have been processed, and every single one of them has given us at least a 4 out of 5 on their exit interview. Mayo Clinic is coming on as both a design partner and an equity partner, and we've been backed by NECX, the corporate venture arm of NEC, one of Japan's largest tech giants. We've also been vetted by the Canadian federal government and given grants of up to $1.68 million to roll out pilots across Canada. The market opportunity is substantial. All the operational waste we've been talking about, that comes up to $14 billion in the US alone. And our go-to-market is very simple. We're focused on mid-sized rural hospitals that are most feeling the staffing constraints. And then we'll expand from there. And this month, we're releasing a direct-to-clinician form of our product so that we can iterate faster. I'm Dr. Mutaz Musa. I'm a Columbia-trained ER physician, former assistant professor of medicine and clinical informaticist. I've been featured on the BBC and on The Scientist, and our advisors come from some of the top medical departments in the country and include operators that have built and sold 9-figure businesses in the ER and urgent care space. Look, any one of us might need this care in the future, so let's make it faster, safer, and smarter for all of us. If you're interested in building the future of emergency care, let's have a conversation. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jameson Buffmeyer and I'm founder of Buoyfish. We're bringing the least connected environment on Earth online. You might not know about it, but there's a hidden crisis at sea right now with more than 25 million pots and traps going missing every year. This leads to 1 to 3 billion in lost catch from ghost gear. It causes more than 100,000 marine mammal entanglements for endangered species like whales. And the lack of transparency is contributing to more than $20 billion in illegal and underreported fishing. We believe that change is inevitable and that within a 10-year time horizon, most traditional gear types will be illegal. So what do we do about it? Well, at Buoyfish, we've invented intelligent buoys that are ocean hardened. They use a new long-range, low-power protocol, and they operate at 1/10 the total cost of ownership of the competition. We attach to existing legacy gear types and provide real-time remote visibility. This reduces equipment loss for operators, it reduces their fuel consumption from looking for lost gear, and it reduces the cost of the network and finding thieves. So how big is this market? There are more than 3.4 billion buoy deployments annually and about 127 million commercial floats in use. So with relatively modest penetration on both services and hardware, it's a very healthy market. So how do we make our money? Today, we sell hardware into this market with positive unit economics, per unit smart buoy prices. Over time, we believe that a recurring model where we invest in and improve the software and provide remote visibility is inevitable. And over a longer arc, we know that we can layer in additional sensor technology, record the transactions from this on a blockchain, and build the most unique oceanographic data set in the world. Zooming out even farther, there is very poor connectivity at sea. The legacy incumbent is AIS, and it needs an overhaul. We're here to build one. Legacy solutions don't scale. Our buoy has a target price of $99 at scale. The legacy equipment is cheaper, but provides no remote visibility. The incumbent smart buoys provide the visibility, but are extremely expensive. What will we do with raised capital? We plan to put it straight into hardware. So we've built our Gen 1 prototypes for $300 per unit. That allowed us to ship 70 units. Our Gen 2 product was dramatically improved with inductive charging, hardened firmware, embedded antennas, and a patent application filed and pending. And we shipped them for $200 unit BOM cost. And for our Gen 3, we're targeting $65 and already have a quote from a vendor. We believe that sustainable fishing can mean fishing abundance. It doesn't have to mean no fishing at all. And we're joined in this fight by a local billionaire in San Francisco, bringing the crab Dungeness fishery back online, and by a rash of regulations worldwide in the developed economies. So with very little money to date, we've accomplished a tremendous amount. With $280K in revenue and $95,000 in safes, we've deployed 15 plus high power outdoor sites. We're tracking real-time 30 plus vessels. We've shipped 268 buoys, and we're in 3 regions, with 2 deployments in Baja and 1 in Nova Scotia, and a 4th coming up in Costa Rica in July. Our gear is proven in the field, and we've collected more than 800,000 LoRaWAN GPS payloads. We're also a pretty unique team. I led a team of 12 to $100 million in sales at my last job as vice president of decentralized wireless at a telecom distributor. Prior to that, I was at Orange and Sprint, and I'm a self-taught full-stack programmer and product engineer, heavily leveraging AI. My co-founder is a commercial fisherman and has significant ops experience. We have financial support from Schmidt Marine and the Ocean Conservancy. So join us in making sustainable fishing possible through technology.
And so that wraps up the AI section of the Class 41 Demo Day. We're now going to go into the deep tech section. So buckle up for some deep tech innovation startups, and please welcome our first deep tech Alchemist Class 41 company.
Hello, I'm Luigi, and welcome to Lucha Labs. I grew up in Italy. If I close my eyes, I can taste the tomatoes from my grandfather's farm in Naples. We all have memories like this. For my co-founder, James, is the rhubarb from his mother's garden in Chicago. That flavor is not magic. It comes from the native environment, that sun and soil, the climate and care, the stress the plant experiences. Every one of those variables is measurable, and now they're reproducible. The outcome can be programmed. And that is why James and I founded Lucha Labs, the world's first digital farming platform. And our journey started with ingredients flavor-tuned for Michelin-level chefs. You see, exceptional restaurants spend $60 billion a year on premium produce. And of those, $20 billion are spent on rare, high-value produce. This includes ingredients like hanano flowers from Nagano, Japan, oyster leaf from the fjord coast of Norway, and yes, buzz buttons from the Brazilian rainforest. For exceptional chefs, these ingredients are non-negotiable. They create the flavor experiences that fill dining rooms, earn stars, and drive margins. So what's the challenge? More than 40 renowned chefs have told us that limited biodiversity stifles their creativity, that global supply chains are too expensive and unreliable, and inconsistent supply creates quality issues and waste. These problems are real, have deep economic impact, and represent an incredible market opportunity. So we designed our digital farming platform to solve specifically these challenges. We solve limited biodiversity with AI-accelerated discovery. Use AI to analyze climate, soil, and scientific data to rapidly pinpoint the exact condition that shape the plant through flavor. Winemakers call this terroir. We then digitize that into a growth protocol, programming the desired outcome. Secondly, we eliminate the global supply chain by growing in micro-hubs located near to our chefs. Each growth protocol precisely controls plant-specific microenvironments. A single micro-hub can grow hundreds of varieties and deliver each ingredient a peak flavor. Finally, we ensure consistent flavor with our Michelin-level chef panel. These chefs evaluate every harvest, and AI translates their sensory feedback directly into protocol adjustment to continually optimize flavor. This digital farming platform creates our moat: more chefs, more data, better flavor. But our platform is more than a flavor optimizer for chefs. Our AI discover, plans, and execute hundreds of experiments. We are an R&D accelerator for naturally derived plant compounds. Want more active compounds for stronger anti-inflammatory turmeric? Or maybe balanced aromatics for a premium rose oil? And exact nutrient levels for verified eye health claims? Every batch to spec. Fine dining is the proof point for our platform. So how do we scale? We build distributed micro-hubs that are modular, configurable, close to the customer in our wedge market, that's the chefs. When we add a new venue, we add racks, not buildings. That decreases our risk and is highly capital efficient. Precision vertical farms like OSG only offer a limited number of SKUs. Specialty distributors like Copper Press are limited by the global supply chain. And boutique culinary firms like the Chef Garden are weather dependent and can't scale. We grow what others can't, tuned to each chef flavor specification. Lucha Lab is not just a dream. 13 of the most renowned chefs in Chicago, representing 29 venues, have signed LOIs to commercialize with us in 2026. These chefs are evangelists, co-creator, and future customers. We're targeting first US and UK venues, 2,000 restaurants to reach $120 million recurring subscription revenue within 3 years. Adjacent markets add another $200 billion to our TAM. James, my co-founder, and I have collaborated for 20 years. We've built a multidisciplinary team of repeat founders with exit, world-class scientists and technology experts who have built and scaled at Motorola, Walgreens, Salesforce, but also Cambridge, Stanford, and Max Planck. We're operationalizing our first micro-hub in 2026, building a 10 to 15 ingredient catalog and converting our chef LOI into $1.5 million in committed revenue. By the end of 2027, we plan to be at 3 hubs, 40 venues, and $2.6 million in revenue. From the medicinal powers of a rare herb in the Amazon to the exquisite scent from a flower in the Alps, there's a vast amount of untapped value that Lucha Labs can unlock from plants. So join us on this journey. Let us start with flavor, using AI, science, and with the world's best chef as our partners. Thank you.
When my children were diagnosed with food allergies, we also discovered that allergy-friendly options are very limited. Only about 28% of prepared foods do not contain a top allergen, and they compromise on taste, texture, and nutrition. My name is Yuri Hamzu. I'm the CEO of Mightyhive, and we want to bring food freedom for everyone. We do this by mimicking allergens with protein ingredients so that food and medical companies can create clean-tasting products. This is important because 10% of the population has a food allergy, and it's increasing in size. The ingredient market alone is estimated to be worth $16 billion, and this is despite of the fact that the products that they make are horrible. To understand why, let's use an example. A scientist is tasked to create a beverage that is dairy-free, a top allergen. They start with a plant milk, which is low in protein. They add in a protein, and they also add taste and texture issues. So they add in sugars, gums, emulsifiers. At the end of the day, you end up with a product that is highly formulated, high in sugar that no one wants. Traditional proteins have one of the two problems. Plant proteins contain tannins and fibers that create taste and texture issues, whereas allergenic proteins bind to the immune system, triggering allergic reactions. Companies are forced to compromise. But not anymore. At Mightyhive, we identify proteins from nature that do not have this binding capacity and then use fermentation to be able to make it at scale, which is a process that does not create tannins nor fibers. We make proteins with no compromises. This is not just a theory, but a de-risk approach. We produced our first ingredient in the lab, MP+, a protein powder that mimics milk powder that is hypoallergenic as per third-party testing. This demonstrates that our predictive model in AI is able to have real-life outcomes. We did this by developing a database of more than 700,000 proteins, and after screening for protein quality, allergenicity, and taste, we end up with 10. We intend to bring this 10 to the pilot plant so that we can send customers samples and let us know what their feedback is. Based on this feedback, we're going to scale up one molecule all the way to commercialization. While dairy as our main asset, our platform can be applied towards many different allergens and even for metabolic conditions like PKU. We have a scalable platform for high value ingredients. I met Paul when we were both heads at Beyond Meat. He, at this point, is using his expertise at MyBio to be able to do the discovery of proteins that are interesting for us. My role is to bridge scientific discovery to commercialization, and I'm one of the best in the world at doing that. The latest project that I've been involved with is to make the COVID-19 vaccine for AstraZeneca. That experience de-risked our venture significantly. You see, it is not only important to discover molecules, but know how to make them at scale economically, and I'm an expert at that. Our advisors and executives from medical field, food field, as well as entrepreneurship. The allergen-free market size is already worth about $16 billion. With the dairy one, it's about 6.7. And our beachhead market in the US for medium and small companies is about $192 million for the near-term opportunity. Our platform starts with selling to food companies, but then expands into infant formula and medical nutrition, where the safety and standards command higher pricing. And because our production process is about the same, it means that we can increase our margins from about 50% from the get-go to about 90% or so. And importantly, this is something they're already seeing a strong market validation for. A UCLA allergist tells us that what we're doing would be a game changer. And we have 2 letters of interest from CPG companies that are interested in adding our proteins into their products. There is market pull. Every generation typically has something that they need to solve that was impossible. It is in our generation that we're going to solve the problem of food allergens. Support MyBio, support food freedom for everyone.
Hi, I'm Akhil Chakravarti, CEO of Slideflow Labs. We provide hospitals with a decentralized platform to discover, develop, and deploy pathology AI biomarkers in-house. Now, if we look at the landscape for precision oncology today, essentially using advanced testing to determine the right treatment for a patient, there's a few key challenges. Those boil down to cost, time, and the imperfect nature of the biomarkers themselves that often lead to under or over treatment. Importantly, these tests also happen on a send-out model, which means the samples are sent from the hospital to external laboratories, who are the ones that capture the reimbursement revenue, which is leaking from the hospital today. We address all of these challenges head-on. Slideflow offers a digital platform that allows hospitals to scan slides they already have locally and get results the same day instead of waiting multiple weeks. This avoids the need for specimen sendouts. It also avoids the need for expensive CapEx since we integrate with their existing slide scanning infrastructure. And finally, because we run in-house, we enable the hospital to generate testing revenue that is leaking today. We're focused on breast cancer as our first clinical application. That's our beachhead product in an area that we can offer immediate value to institutions. From there, we're expanding into a number of additional cancer types, and we already have 4 in development. Then, the stage we're really excited about is working with our partner institutions to build and train new biomarkers that will all be hosted on the same platform. Now, I want to highlight a couple factors about our breast cancer model specifically. We've amassed one of the largest data sets in the world to train and validate this model. We've validated in over 5 cohorts, and we show head-to-head that we exceed performance of the standard of care. All of this rests on top of the Slideflow platform, which has been cited in or driven over 100 publications to date. As we roll this platform out into institutions, we understand how complex the hospital sale process is, and it's really important to appeal to each stakeholder in the value chain. We're confident from our conversations that oncologists, pathologists, chief innovation officers, and chief financial officers all see value in the Slideflow platform. We're working with the anchor institutions you see on the right-hand side of the slide on initial deployment and validation of that breast cancer biomarker. From there, we'll plan to expand to additional academic medical centers and eventually into community settings as well. We also understand that we're living in a time where vendors are inundating institutions with new solutions to date. That's why our revenue model positions itself for us to be a partner of the institution. We absorb upfront risk with a minimal platform fee upfront, and after that, we share in the upside of the revenue that we drive back into the institutions. As we grow, I really want to highlight that one of the key differentiators of Slideflow versus some of the other players in this space who who are building pathology AI biomarkers comes down to the deployment model. We're different in that we're decentralizing deployment by providing our software platform within each hospital node. That's different than the centralized model that many of the players are taking today. The reason we can do this is because we have the technical methods to be resilient across different operators, scanners, and staining types. Over time, as we work with more and more institutions, there's a number of network effects that will result, including ease of distribution for each incremental biomarker. I want to highlight a couple pieces about our team. My co-founders Sid and James are physician scientists who have been at the bleeding edge of this field for close to a decade. I bring experience at a number of venture-backed startups, operating and scaling from Series A through Series D. Together, we have the combination that'll allow SlideFlow to bring its vision to life. Now, as we move towards commercialization, I want to highlight that we're pursuing a dual-track pathway that starts with the Laboratory to Develop Test, or LDT framework. We'll work with the anchor institutions I described before on a multi-site validation on their own data to allow immediate clinical and commercial value. In parallel, we're also going down the FDA pathway, and we've already have a pre-submission meeting scheduled for June of this year. That'll enable us to achieve hyperscale as we drop this into a number of institutions all around the country. Thanks so much for listening. If you're interested in what we're building, I'd love to connect.
Every peak hours, then grid is at its limit. When transformer fail, blackouts cascade spread fast. The cost is billions of dollars and lives at risk. Hi, I'm Asher, founder and CEO of Pepper Power. We are solving the peak grid overload for utilities by turning existing street lighting poles into bidirectional energy network. The paradox: most of the time the grid runs below the capacity, but for the few peak hours each day it's overload. The gap is growing fast. In 5 years, peak demand on the distribution grid will be more than double. Electrification and data centers drive this growth. The bottleneck is not the main grid. It is the last mile close to home, cars and businesses. This is where utilities feel the pain. Today, utilities spend $200 billion a year to this, during trench building substations. Where is another way? The answer is at the curb. Streetlights are already there, installed, powered, permit. We are turning them into the new kind of power plant. They store energy, charge electric vehicles, and send power back to the grid. This is the energy hub. It clicks on into the existing street lighting pole. No trenching, no digging. Storage plus DC fast chargers and bidirectional energy flow. One pole is a node, hundreds of poles became a power plant. Our product is tested, validated and ready to deploy it. We have been in the field for 3 years with a proof of concept and working prototype. The trajectory is 100,000 nodes over the next 5 years. Free patent filings build the mode. Bidirectional energy flow, a mesh protocol that lets poles act in one virtual asset, and the click mount design build a repeat deployment. Our maker customer segment is a public lighting operator, utility subsidiaries. Lighting operator hold long-term rights to use the light poles. We sell to them directly. No municipal contract, no utility procurement. And we have the signed contracts. And it's accelerating. $50 million is qualified pipeline. 60 customers is active discovery. 3 contracts in the final negotiation. Let's show you our biggest deal. Los Angeles. 2 stages. First, a paid pilot for $500,000, then production contract for the $15 million. The goal to validate our deployment model and real urban grid environment, create the first repeatable city-scale playbook. Popper Power is a physical AI company. We need to combine hardware, software, and grid integration. I lead 2 industrial M&A exits. Andrew runs battery skills. Kirill leads AI and software. We have the team to move this from prototype to deployed grid infrastructure. Find me after this. I will show you our unit economics and LI use case. Let's set up a meeting. Thank you.
Today, I will tell you how thousands of square meters of the forest can be saved with a simple tool. Yes, it is simple and brilliant tool. Hi, I am Mustafa Kemal, CEO of Linear Robotics. We are building a physical AI tool to keep the lights on. Our project born with a customer need. While we are talking with a different project with Vattenfall, they saw our coating robot and asked us directly, can you build a special robot for us? We said, of course. Until that time, we even didn't know the problem. Trees are a very big problem for utilities. Energy distribution companies use thousands of their linemen for just cutting the branches near to the electric line. But there is not enough workers and nature grows faster than the trees can respond. Here some current solution. As you can see, they are so slow, costly, and dangerous for linemen. That's why we developed Linear. It is a semi-automatic system that trims the trees without cutting the electricity. It is how it works. A drone takes a robot and put to the electric line. Then the robot starts to tree trimmings in near to the electric line. It is how it goes. Today, utilities need at least 5 landmen to clear around half a mile per day, just half a mile. A lineman takes huge risks for their lives. With Linear, one worker can clear more than 7.5 miles per day. It is game-changing technology for utilities. The economics are even better. We can trim the trees only 10 cents per meter. It is more than 90% less costly than the current methods and 15 times faster. The market size is interestingly huge. It's a so niche market, but every year, energy distribution companies have to pay $22 billion for tree trimming, and $100 is the global market. We are already letter of intent from the energy distribution companies, and we are doing the POC with them, active POC and paid POCs. It's just the beginning. We will apply grant with them and make more POC. We are 3 co-founders. We have been working together more than 3 years, and I am an entrepreneur since 2010, and it's my 8th company, and as is a successful exit also. My co-founders are strong, genius engineers who are fully committed to build this hard technology. We know each other more than 3 years, and we graduated these accelerators like Berkeley Skydeck, Hex, Free Electron, and Alchemist. Linear is not developed for one aim. It's a modular system. Our robot will break the ice and make an inspection to the line 2. We are making a tool for electric companies to cut trees 15 times faster and 90% low cost. If you want to part of this game-changing technology, please connect us. Thank you.
Hey everyone. We've spent the last 3 years collectively amazed at what AI can say. This year, it gets to work, not just on the screen. Robots on the job site, intelligence in the factory floor, new eyes inside the chip fab. Meet the Alchemist founders taking AI to work.
I'm Gabe, founder and CEO of Puppet Robotics, where we're building autonomous construction equipment that works where people shouldn't. Our infrastructure is aging, and the road to revitalization starts with hazardous work, repairing and repurposing facilities built in the last century. However, the reality is that the people who put their health on the line to do this work just can't keep up. and it's no wonder why. The work hasn't changed in the last century, the labor pool is shrinking, and injuries are high. Given this critically low supply of trade labor and skyrocketing demand for new infrastructure, it's inevitable that this work will be automated. At Puppet, we're building physical AI-powered robotic crews that scale the expertise of skilled tradespeople while keeping them safely out of harm's way. We're following proven operating design principles from my time developing self-driving cars. Like city streets, construction sites are messy environments, full of edge cases that trip up traditional robots. We handle this by integrating tradespeople directly into monitoring and failure recovering workflows. This approach preserves the flexibility, job context, and uptime critical to construction jobs. It also lets us implement a in-production reinforcement learning loop, where our models learn all the nuances of job site work directly from the people that know it best. And to kickstart this learning loop, we're going where the pain is greatest: asbestos abatement. The work is extremely high hazard and critical path for demolition and repurposing projects. It requires toxic materials to be removed by hand and under full PPE, basically in spacesuits. No two jobs look exactly the same, and the work is inherently destructive. That means the tasks are highly variable and it's okay to make mistakes, which is a perfect match for physical AI. But the pain goes deeper than just grueling, dangerous work. Contractor margins are notoriously thin, sometimes as low as 3%, leaving them one mistake away from bankruptcy. Our solution solves their biggest concern: risk. We lower the labor cost to reduce risk of running over budget. We also decrease the likelihood of expensive OSHA violations and long-tail liability events like mesothelioma cases, which can cost between $1 and $2 million. And that's money that contractors don't have and will likely put them out of business. We've already validated this need through our network of early design partners and customers. They've helped us run early user trials and collect honest trade feedback on early iterations of the product. And the feedback has been clear. They need this. Collectively, these partners have signed letters of intent for an initial $1.8 million in ARR. And the market here is huge. With 330,000 workers in the United States focused on hazardous manual trade work and a per hour robot rate of just half the prevailing wage, we're looking at a $16 billion revenue opportunity. To get started, we'll start using a land and expand go-to-market strategy. Our beachhead asbestos removal lets us get systems into the field fast, where the pain is greatest. Then, we train our system to perform 5 simple tasks that combine to create an end-to-end hazardous material removal workflow. Once that first package is proven, we will add new tasks to unlock new packages and expand into larger markets. I've already built a system out of my garage that's capable of performing 2 starter tasks: removing floor tile and cleaning up debris. But we all know the real proof is on the job site, which is why I've been busy building our MVP and are now days away from our first on-site testing. I have previously brought hundreds of first-of-their-kind robots from prototype to production, and my co-founder Meredith has led $2 billion plus infrastructure build-out projects, including the exact type of revitalization work that we're targeting. We came together because we saw the inevitability of robotics augmenting trade labor, and we're here to forge a future where humans still pry their craft, but robots take all the risk.
Hello everyone, I'm Jake Damian Kang, CEO and founder of AltaSolid. AltaSolid makes plastic better and cheaper. Plastic injection molding is a $300 billion global massive market, but suffers with thin margin. Resin drives the cost. About 60% of the part costs are resins. That's why factories want the lighter and cheaper part. Foaming can reduce resins, but creates a trade-off, like visual defects or do not save enough resins, or burdens the customer to adopting it. AltaSolid can reduce resin in the existing injection molding line. EcoFoam uses stable nitrogen and plastic mixing to reduce resins. EcoMold uses surface heating control for surface protections. In combined outcomes, we can make a plastic part that is lighter and cleaner surface. In the third-party validation, we have proved that our weight reduction, which drives the cost savings, are triple from our direct competitors. And we can get a cleaner surface, not only into a typical foaming baselines, but also to a conventional plastic surface. In 20% of our conservative foaming cases, modeled under NDA shows that our paybacks are within a year, and the annual cost savings are 257 carats per line per year. Our competitors forces trade-off. Let some reduce resins, some improve the surface, but ETA does it both. Less resins, better surface, easier product in the existing line. We are in the LOI past stages with a global tier 1 automotive supplier under NDA for first pay POCs, and we are prepared for a second customer path. And also we are in a strategic discussion with a top global material supplier. Our go-to-market strategy is simple. We're going to win the paid POC contracts first. Then we're going to build the hardware recipe playbooks and scale in the recurring revenue per line. In our business model, we're going to supply our product in a near cost in the paid POC stages. After 12 months validations, we're going to recur the license fees of about 30% of the verified savings. This is the growth path. Sid's going to approve our first paid POCs. And in Series A, we're going to triple the scales. Then we're going to multiply across the production line. Our team combines both technology and US customer access. Founder has developed this technology since 2019. Our CTO is a former R&D leader. Our team brings 40 years of Korean PE, former professor, and US customer access key, supported by our operation team. Sid is going to turn the POC into deployment. We're going to build the models for our customers, and we're going to deploy it in their US sites. Then we're going to prove the savings for setting up the license fees. Less resins, low cost. Stay in the same line. It was ETA Solid. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Constantine, co-founder of Industrial Dynamics. We're building a flight simulator for machine vision, the design and deployment platform for industrial AI. Inside every factory is a line, inside every machine is a camera, and that camera doesn't just see, it makes decisions on every part. That decision layer is machine vision, and it's exactly where we play. Currently, machine vision doesn't start until the line is already running, because the data you need is specific to your parts, your lighting, and your setup. So whether you build in-house or buy from incumbents, the same 3 steps break every time: design, training, and deployment. As an example, a top automotive OEM we're working with had to spend over 2 years in development to get to an AI model deployment on their line. Our approach flips this timeline. Machine vision AI starts before hardware ships, one platform to design, train, and deploy. Engineers spec the system, generate training data the moment the design is locked, and the model arrives pre-trained, so deployment becomes a step function, not a multi-month hardware setup and data collection effort. This only became possible recently because 2 curves crossed. Real-time optical simulation got fast enough, and edge inference got cheap enough. With RT-class GPUs and Jetson-class hardware, what used to need servers can now be done on a $5,000 PC interactively and at a per-camera economics. Our team is uniquely positioned to tackle this challenge. Michael and I were advanced manufacturing engineers at Apple, where we designed and deployed factory automation at a global scale. We've put over $500 million of equipment into production lines across 16 iPhone program launches, so we know exactly what breaks on a line. And we're building this tool to fix it.
So how does this become a business? 3 layers, 1 install base. We land with a design tool where engineers design the system and simulation before buying hardware. Trust is one there. Next come our hardware partners, where every integration deepens the asset library. That's part of our moat. Then the engine, recurring software priced per camera, per year, across the entire install base. So how big is this opportunity? We have 8.4 million addressable cameras at $1,000 a year. That's an $8.4 billion software opportunity. We cut out the closed hardware stacks, stay conservative on adoption, and that's the serviceable market, 1.76 billion. Bottoms up, not top down. And software is the part that's actually growing at roughly twice the pace of hardware. 10% of that serviceable market gets us to 176 million in ARR. Who's already at the table? We have 10 pilots, a top 5 global auto supplier, leading aerospace OEM, and one of the largest automakers in the world. 5 hardware partners across cameras, optics, and lighting, and our first paid channel partner has signed. Mark's a 25-year industry veteran and ran Cognex's Detroit accounts. He sold the incumbent stack his whole career, and now he sells ours. So why hasn't someone else built this? So everyone's built for one layer. Data companies would have to become hardware companies, the incumbents would have to cannibalize their own hardware business, and a new entrant would have to build all layers at once. Then we'd still be behind on the asset and train model library that compounds with every deployment. Nobody's done it, and that's why we're building it. Here's our roadmap. This fall, Design Studio ships. Mid-2027, runtime is live on factory cameras. The end of 2027, our first AI model is running on a customer's line, paying us per camera every year. That's the linchpin. From there, we scale across the entire install base. That's Industrial Dynamics. We're building the machine vision platform we needed at Apple and didn't have. The customers are pooling, the partners are pushing, and we're the platform they meet on. That's where this industry is going, and thanks for your time.
Hi, my name is Timirlan, co-founder and CEO of Meta, where we contextualize legacy engineering drawings. Before co-founding Meta with my father, I worked alongside him for 4 years as he built an industrial engineering business with 200 million in annual revenue. We executed projects worldwide and saw the same problem every single time. The master engineering drawing, called Piping and Instrumentation Diagram, or PNAD, governs every industrial plant. Yet no computer can read it because 80% of PNADs are kept in legacy formats. Therefore, 6,000 to 15,000 man-hours are burned digitizing legacy PNADs on a typical project, resulting in 135 refineries and 14,000 chemical plants in the US alone, spending billions on it. Meta solves it by turning legacy PNADs into structured engineering data, up to 48 times faster and saving 1.5 million on a typical project. The use cases vary from material takeoff, brownfield digitization, environmental compliance, and up to feeding digital twins. 3 months since launching, 1.2 million in annual recurring revenue, 4 active pilots with US-based corporations, and even more in the pipeline. We won the first place at CERAWeek in Houston, the biggest stage in the energy industry. The biggest technology vendors like EPAM and Hexagon requested technology partnership with Meta. We raised 1 million during our previous pre-seed round and are proud to be a part of Alchemist Accelerator. Our business model is annual subscription based on PNAD volume, ranging from 50,000 per year up to 150K. The buyers are asset owners, operators, EPC firms, and engineering companies in the oil and gas, chemical, water treatment, and nuclear segments. Our team connects domain expertise and frontier AI engineering. I used to manage multi-billion projects delivering results across 3 continents. My co-founder and father successfully exited 6 businesses, scaling the last one to 200 million in annual revenue. Our CTO leads the R&D team of world-class ICPC and IMO medalists, and our chief industry officer spent 2 decades as a technical executive at ENI and Saipem, companies generating more than 15 billion in revenue each. The existing CAD tools create new drawings. They're useless for the 80% of PNADs in legacy formats. Generic AI models annotate without engineering context and topology. Specialist extraction tools produce limited and static output and heavily dependent on users' input. Our mode is the access to more than 20 years of proprietary data that we own to build a multi-stage ML pipeline, geometric reasoning, and domain-tuned vision models. We do not use any publicly available resources or models. Our roadmap is to expand into the remaining drawing types, to create an engineering knowledge graph, to use it as a base to build generative industrial plant design. Join us in engineering the future using the legacy past. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Pradeep Pada, CEO of Astra Quanta. Astra Quanta is moving semiconductor design from human scale limits to limitless compute scale. We are building an AI-native platform that helps semiconductor design teams move faster, explore more designs, and increase engineering leverage. The semiconductor industry has a major asymmetry. There are hundreds of thousands of analog SKUs in the market compared to only thousands of microprocessor SKUs. Yet, the number of highly skilled analog IC engineers is extremely limited. This creates a huge capacity bottleneck, especially as every physical product now needs more sensing and power. Analog IC design is considered a black art. It is manual, tedious, highly experience-driven, and extremely slow. With the rise of physical AI, defense electronics, space systems, robotics, analog design capacity becomes a critical constraint. The industry does not just need more engineers, it needs each engineer to design more SKUs faster and with higher confidence. AQ's value proposition is simple: increase design per capita. We help move analog innovation from human-only design capacity to AI-assisted compute scale design capacity. Our target markets include physical AI, photonics, and ADAS. The goal is to make design teams dramatically more productive without forcing companies to scale engineering headcount linearly. Our platform, Genie, starts with a circuit specification sheet and a baseline circuit. The designer feeds the requirements into the platform. AI agents then assist with optimization, exploration, simulation workflows, and verification. Genie integrates with open source and commercial electronic environments and custom process nodes. The output is a verified circuit design workflow that helps the designer achieve the requirement faster. We already have meaningful traction across industry, fabrication, government, and research ecosystems. Our engagements include a Fortune 500 semiconductor company, a large semiconductor fab, government-linked semiconductor programs, and partnerships connected to reinforcement learning research. This is important because our platform is not just a lab concept. It is being shaped around real semiconductor workflows, real design teams, and real institutional needs. AQ is listed under India's Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology CHIPS to Startup program as part of centralized EDA tool access for academia and R&D. This validates our relevance in a national semiconductor ecosystem, playing alongside the big names. Our biggest differentiation is how we work with the customer's existing IP. Astra Quanta does not ask companies to throw away their design knowledge. We help observe, protect, and grow it. The platform can discover knowledge from past, present, and future designs, convert circuits into structured design spaces, and help generate robust, optimized design. We are converting analog designs from a black art into an explainable and controllable science. Our differentiation includes explainability and visualization, circuits as graph, physics-based reinforcement learning, and optimization methods. We have filed IP around computing systems, and our plan is to continue filing one disclosure every quarter. Our business model is primarily SaaS-based. We generate scalable recurring revenue through SaaS subscriptions, high-value enterprise licensing for on-prem and secure deployments, and enterprise AI services. The services part is to help us land strategic customers, prove ROI, and expand into larger SaaS software deployments. Our revenue roadmap is built around license growth and enterprise expansion. We expect to start with a smaller number of high-value customers and then scale through repeatable licenses. The global EDA market is already over $12.5 billion and is expected to exceed $20 billion by 2030. Our wedge is the $1 billion semiconductor IP EDA market. Our team is one-of-a-kind team that brings deep experience across semiconductors, reinforcement learning, AI, software, physics, and enterprise product development. We have semiconductor industry experience from companies like Intel and Texas Instruments, software and systems experience, reinforcement learning expertise connected to the University of Alberta and the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute. This combination matters because solving analog design automation requires both semiconductor depth and AI depth. Thank you. Let us build together.
Hi everyone, I'm Gustavo, CEO and co-founder of Divergent Physics. We are building the AI platform for electromagnetic engineering. At this very moment, we are submerged in a vast sea of electromagnetic waves, propagating around us at unbelievable scales. Satellites, 5G, radars for autonomous vehicles, AI hardware, and the high-speed data center infrastructure this country is investing right now, electromagnetic technology powers the modern world. Every next-generation wireless system depends on it, and the complexity is accelerating, which means the breakthrough potential is transformational. But this is a field of relentless complexity. Engineers are constantly forced to trade off how much they can explore against the times they have, because doing more means more manual work. These are the smartest engineers in the industry. RF engineering has the highest barrier of entry in all of tech. Most roles require a PhD. Meanwhile, the talent pool is shrinking while demand is exploding, because today, every electronic device is a wireless device. Take one of our pilot users. They are developing a non-invasive drug delivery system, use electromagnetic waves to open cells for targeted therapy. He spends 3 hours a day, multiple times a week, fixing small details in his simulation setup. Eventually, he gives up, hands it off to customer support, and waits a full day for an answer. This isn't rare. This happens everywhere. From hardware startups like this to the RF teams at Lockheed Martin. We have talked to hundreds of engineers. Compute time is not the real bottleneck. Manual workflow overhead is. That overhead is growing because complexity is growing, and the tools meant to address it keep stacking up without working together. So we built an agentic engineering platform that automates workflows inside the tools engineers already trust, powered by foundational physics models, delivering both speed and accuracy. This gives engineers 25% more design exploration, 10 times faster data processing, and a lower barrier to entry without sacrificing precision. We help teams unlock the full power of the simulation tools they already own. We know this because we have lived it. I spent 8 years at a hard-tech RF company, from the garage to Series B, generating multiple patents in wireless systems along the way. My co-founders are experts in wireless engineering with backgrounds from companies like Ansys and Apple. Our advisors are world-class, deeply embedded in what it takes to ship hardware in the RF space. This is a real growing market, not a hype-driven one. 17% year-over-year growth consistently for the last 10 years. We are positioned inside the Ansys ecosystem as our beachhead, a $500 million opportunity on its own. Expanding into broader electromagnetic tooling opens to $1.5 billion opportunity. Then into CFD, mechanical, structural, a $5 billion opportunity today, on track to hit $10 billion by 2030. And we're already moving. RF teams at Apple are testing our product. We're in procurement with them right now. We have also active pilots with leading RF companies, and we have partnered with the largest North American channel partner in engineering and HPC compute, giving us direct distribution across defense, aerospace, and corporate HPC. Pilot interest is growing 20% month over month. The next generation of radar, 6G, and satellites will be designed by humans and agents together. We are building them. Join us.
Hi, I'm Laurent Rains, Managing Director at Alchemist. In partnership with the University of Chicago, we went looking for the founders who can actually ship quantum, not just publish about it. These are the ones we found.
Hi, I'm Will Shoemaker, founder and CEO of Yield Tools, where we are accelerating fab yield. I'm a successful founder with experience in commercializing light source technology into semiconductor equipment. My most recent company, XLI, is a soon-to-be unicorn which is pioneering a revolutionary new light source for EUV and X-ray lithography. At KLA, I designed and built the first-of-its-kind soft X-ray metrology tool in under 3 years. Prior to that, I received my PhD at Michigan in a Nobel Prize-winning group before joining Stanford to work on their premier X-ray facility. With the rise of AI, the demand for cutting-edge chips is increasing exponentially. Over the next decade, cutting-edge nodes below 2 nanometers will drive the majority of this revenue growth, projected to reach over $500 billion annually by 2035. However, yield at the cutting edge is becoming a major problem for fabs due to the ever-increasing complexity of chip making. To put this in perspective, at a cutting-edge 2 nanometer fab where costs now exceed $25,000 per wafer, a 1-month delay in yield ramp or a 5% drop in yield translates into roughly $1 billion of lost revenue. The recent transition to 3D device architectures has had a major impact on scaling yield. costing chip makers tens of billions of dollars in delays and losses. If this trend continues, yield will become a critical bottleneck for AI chip production. This is because transistors continue to get smaller and grow in 3D complexity. New devices based on gate-all-around and CFET architectures have deep 3D features which fabs struggle to measure and control in a timely manner for process feedback. Conventional optical metrology was sufficient for previous nodes and has been extended for current nodes using AI. However, the next generation of CFET devices require a new paradigm of 3D metrology to scale yield and unlock hundreds of billions of revenue throughout the 2030s. To tackle this problem, I am joined by an incredible team of semiconductor metrology experts with decades of experience at KLA, Intel, and Lam, spanning simulations, tool design, and yield process improvement aspects. Our solution is to build an accelerator-based X-ray scattering tool. Compared to conventional optical metrology, X-rays have much shorter wavelengths and greater penetration depth, allowing for characterization of the deepest features in 3D devices. Our patented hardware approach, coupled with our proprietary AI physics model, can deliver more than 1,000 times the actionable 3D insights compared to our competitors. This closes the feedback loop on the most critical process steps, thereby accelerating fab yield for the most difficult 3D devices. Our upgradable hardware platform lays the foundation for a whole new paradigm of metrology and inspection toolkits that can solve other critical yield issues such as overlay and defect detection. We hold 5 core patents that protect both our novel tool architecture and their source enablement. By resolving the most critical yield issues at CFET nodes, we can both accelerate the yield ramp by over a year and raise the ultimate yield by over 10%, saving a CFET fab $5 billion annually. Connect with us on the Vault to learn more about how we can accelerate fab yield together. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is E.W. Malachowski, co-founder of QDIR. We're making thermal cameras for drones. Low-cost drones now dominate the battlefield, and they are the future of war. The number of drones deployed by Russia and Ukraine has increased 200-fold since 2022. However, not all of the supply chain has kept up. Performance thermal cameras are still too expensive. Long-range, high-speed, and humidity-penetrating cameras, like this one here, still cost $100,000 each, and this is obviously incompatible with deployment on or detection of a $5,000 drone. Low-cost options are being used, but they just aren't good enough. And this means our soldiers and critical infrastructure are vulnerable in the degraded conditions presented by night, fog, and coastal environments. And this is in no small part why drones cause over 70% of the casualties in the Ukraine-Russia war. Our solution is simple. QDIR is building performance thermal cameras at consumable prices. This means that we're matching the range and speed of the performance systems with the production volumes and cost requirements of drones. We can do this because we're building thermoelectrically cooled mid-wave infrared cameras. Current mid-wave infrared cameras require cryocoolers to operate, which account for 2/3 of their cost. By moving to thermoelectric coolers, we can make cameras for $5,000. This is only possible because we're using a patented quantum nanomaterial in our process. With these cameras, we will capture the drone and counter-drone needs. The 2025 global TAM for drone cameras was $12 billion, but it's set to explode. Ukraine alone will deploy 7 million drones this year, of which 100,000 are intended for multi-mission reconnaissance. These are QDIR's targeted platforms, and a contract to outfit those drones with our cameras would be worth $500 million. In addition to hot armed conflicts, there's critical infrastructure that must now be protected. The 2025 global TAM for counter-drone detection was $800 million. Given recent events, that is laughably inadequate. The US alone has over 3 million miles of oil and gas pipelines and 55,000 miles of critical infrastructure perimeter, airports, ports, borders, etc., that must now be monitored against drone threats. A contract to monitor just those 55,000 miles would be worth $825 million to QDIR. Although QDIR is the only company that can offer a long-range, low-cost solution, we aren't the only ones who understand its importance. We have 7 LOIs worth $35 million, SME champions in these 8 primes, and have won over $4 million in non-dilutive contracts to build our cameras. We are the company to bring this technology to market and capture these opportunities because my co-founder, Dr. Matthew Ackerman, is co-inventor on our core patents. I have extensive manufacturing experience from my time at Intel, and our advisors have deep networks across the government and primes that we're using to accelerate our business development. We're executing aggressively because speed to market saves lives. We will have our MVP in June, and with this technical de-risking, we'll start our seed raise in July. This will ensure that we can ship dev kits to our customers by December, build our first prototype by March, and enter low-rate production by July of 2027. We're QDIR, and we're making performance thermal cameras for drones. We're looking for partners to accelerate us, and if you're interested, please reach out.
Hi folks, my name is Tommaso, CEO of Entropica, and we build the software stack that turns quantum hardware into programmable computers. Quantum computing is a paradox. Billions invested, zero commercial applications. And the end users keep asking, what is a killer app? And the problem is not the physics, it is the missing software layer. In practice, quantum programming today, it is still quantum assembly code. You handwire qubits gate by gate. It does not scale to real applications. We call it the quantum programmability gap. For years, this problem was invisible. In 2016, end wiring 5 qubits was acceptable. Today, quantum hardware is becoming stable enough to support the software stack and complex enough to demand one. The blueprint is classical computing. We didn't build the software industry by asking developers to program transistors. We built abstraction layers and developer interfaces. At Entropica, we are building the same bridge, from qubits to developers. Our roadmap is simple. Programmability is the destination. Reliability is the entry point. The end goal is a high-level interface for developers to build quantum applications across quantum computers. But first, hardware must become reliable. Hardware companies have qubits, but they need error correction to make them useful. Our compiler maps logical programs onto their hardware, so they can move faster from physics experiments to working systems. That makes Gen 2 quantum hardware companies our natural first customers. They're building qubits, but are missing the error corrections of the stack. The insight is simple. A chip is not a computer. So we embed our compiler into their systems. When they ship, our software ships with them, and we capture a license fee. At scale, this means dozens of integrations. And the ecosystem is already pulling. We have completed multiple paid projects and have more than 1.5 million under negotiation. Our partners span the stack: silicon leaders, control electronics, hardware specialists across qubit modalities. They are building hardware, they need software now. And we can execute because we know the market from the inside. I have spent more than 15 years in quantum computing. With my co-founder Yuan, I was coding a real quantum hardware almost 10 years ago. Jing Gao, our CPO, is one of the top global experts in quantum error correction. And our conviction is shared by Chad Rigetti, a quantum computing pioneer who sits on our board. Quantum computing has reached the software inflection point. Hardware companies need reliability. Developers are waiting for programmability. So, we are building our reference system, a modular testbed where Entropica runs on qubits, proves the stack end-to-end, and gives early users a first programmable quantum interface. This is how we turn quantum hardware into programmable computers. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Dan. I'm co-founder and CEO of Coro Quantum. Coro is the unlock for quantum computing market scale. We're enabling the next $1 trillion of compute through the usability and accessibility of quantum computing. Developers and enterprises are running quantum algorithms today, and they're doing so across multiple chip modalities, both quantum modalities, but also CPU, GPU, and combinations thereof. So this creates a huge amount of complexity, and it's this complexity which is preventing really the kind of value beyond the infrastructure. So today, the high-performance computing centers, and tomorrow, more and more enterprises are adopting quantum computing for their business use cases. Every one of these developers is paying an infrastructure tax. They have to spend months writing hundreds of thousands of lines of code. With Coro, they can just write 20 lines of call for an SDK, and it brings their project time down to days. We've tested this with real customers. Our platform that they implement is essentially a bridge between the use case, the scientific business use case, and the compute on the other side. This can be CPU, GPU, or QPU, and then different architectures combining multiple systems. We have an agnosticism when it comes to the hardware and the algorithm, but we also are very aware that the runtime strategy and the amount of simulation you use has to change based on the application. So we do this in real time, and we provide a fully programmable system for developers to use. So with our traction with enterprises, we've worked with an energy company, E.ON, and a central bank in the Middle East to produce results to demonstrate the power of our platform, achieving results previously intractable and beating their classical alternatives that they previously had, and also providing a very good business case for adoption and procurement of the Coro software platform. Developers can get access today by giving free access to developers using cloud simulation only as a wedge into the market. And then ultimately it's a cross-sell, upsell to proof of concept or direct to a contract which enables the enterprise to use our software going forward. We're treating our two segments very differently. The HPC world is more around channel and OEM partner development. Ultimately, we want to be in there with the big players, and our simulation platform is our on-ramp for that. In the enterprise world, it's about geography and industry scaling as we go and build the sales team. We're an ex-Cisco team. Steve and I are from Cisco, and we have backgrounds complementary across sales, partner development, product management, and of course, research and distributed quantum computing. We've taken on 2 appropriate advisors recently. Pete Ongaro is an absolute legend in the HPC space. He is providing strategic advisory in the HPC world, and Daniel Voll is quite similarly in the enterprise space, especially in Germany. So ultimately, this next $1 trillion of compute needs an execution layer that can be reliably implemented by enterprises to get assured and repeatable behaviors from their quantum computing developments. That's us. Come and join us so we can create a US commercial beachhead, start capturing serious business and customers across North America and Europe. Coro Quantum, the unlock for the quantum computing market scale.
Hello, my name is Chloe Kim from SQK. We are building an uncertainty-aware medical imaging AI platform for low-dose CT reconstruction. SQK is already generating revenue, and our product Qmetic is now moving toward clinical trials. Today, I'll share the problem we are solving, how our technology works, and why now is the right time to bring Qmetic to the market. Today's medical imaging AI sacrifices fidelity for speed, which erodes clinical trust. Classical generative AI systems are statistically powerful, but they still have high hallucination risk, and this can lead to repeat scans, additional review, and make diagnostic delays. Our solution, Qmetic, offers trustworthy medical AI imaging based on physics laws. This enables lower radiation exposure for patients and more reliable imaging for physicians. Qmetic focuses beyond aesthetic sharpness. Our product has two differentiated technologies, a physics-constrained guardrail to prevent AI-induced artifacts, and a quantum hybrid AI refinement layer that enhances existing AI imaging models. Qmetic combines quantum-grounded truth with practical medical AI productivity. The workflow is simple. Raw imaging data enters Qmetic. The physics guardrail checks source domain consistency and blocks hallucination. Then quantum AI refinement improves structural detail. The result is a high-fidelity clinical image that is not just sharper, but more reliable and diagnostically trustworthy. Qmetic provides a 30% increase in artifact suppression performance over industry standard. Current AI achieved a 0.74 artifact reduction score, while our technology reached 0.94 in last year's clinical validation. Qmetic demonstrates strong performance differentiation versus legacy systems, including 20% better diagnostic agreement, 30% lower artifact rate, and 30% less cost from imaging to diagnosis. Qmetic addresses a large and scalable market opportunity with a projected $45 billion global AI imaging market, $30 billion US domestic market, and a $3.5 billion serviceable market in biomedical imaging AI. Our commercialization strategy begins with academic research to establish clinical validation, expanding through enterprise SaaS for regional diagnostic centers, and scales globally via OEM and SDK integration with major medical device companies. We have already completed a clinical trial last year, and this year we're expanding our engagement with additional Tier 1 medical research labs, including the University of Chicago, Stanford, and the Mayo Clinic. We are preparing to launch our Qmetic service this July in collaboration with our platform partners, IBM, AWS, and MATLAB. We have two founders with experience in quantum computing, HPC, computational AI, and heterogeneous system architecture. For Qmetic, clinical validation is critical. That is why we have a clinical V&V group in our team to support verification and validation. Together, we're building a commercial deep tech company that can bring trustworthy medical imaging AI into the market. SQK is a multinational deep tech company with roots across the US, South Korea, and Canada. We have already received support and recognition from highly relevant innovation ecosystems. And for investors, this matters because it shows that we are not operating in isolation as a small technical team, but that we are already building the right ecosystem around research, commercialization, and strategic visibility. Thank you for listening and hope you'll join us in our mission.
Hi, my name is Stuart Pino, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Codex Quantum. We build quantum-enhanced AI software to accelerate solutions to the world's toughest computational problems. Aircraft look the same as they did 50 years ago. Cars, 30 years ago. Even the new space economy is based on CFD tooling from 1995. That's because modern engineering is stuck in the past. CFD simulates how air, water, and fuel move around a design. Everything that flies, drives, or sails gets shaped by it. But classical simulation tools have hit a wall. They force teams to limit the scope of analysis and test only a narrow slice of the design space. And one high-fidelity run can take 10 to 15 hours. And a full design campaign can take hundreds of thousands of runs. This means design cycles take months or years, so engineers try to shortcut this, and they scope the design down from 10,000 parameters to just 20. And then they optimize the wrong thing. And this results in suboptimal designs, longer timelines, and higher risk carried into later program phases. And that costs real money. High-fidelity simulation and physics-based machine learning is a $16 billion market because even small percentage wins in drag, fuel burn, and thermal loss compound into category-defining advantage and billions of dollars of improvement. The OEMs who can rapidly iterate will own the next decade, and the ones stuck in the 90s will not. So we built a quantum-enhanced machine learning platform for CFD. It accelerates the engineer's existing workflow and allows them to explore the entire design, thousands of versions of it, under realistic conditions in days or weeks. No quantum expertise required. We started with a single algorithm that came out of years of Navy research. We built a platform around it to tackle a wide variety of engineering problems. Through research and mentorship, we chose CFD as our beachhead. And then along came the agentic wave that surprised everyone. And we applied our expertise to specialized workflows to enhance our algorithm and improve our platform. And you know what? It worked. We saw a huge 60 to 80% improvement across multiple metrics. And that was just the first pass. When we presented our new agentic quantum algorithm platform to our partners, they all wanted it. So much so that we all agreed it was an ideal candidate for the White House's historic Genesis mission. So we led 2 of the strongest Genesis mission proposals and participated in another 2 with some of the biggest possible commercial partners and prestigious national labs. They backed us because they believe in us, and we are actively converting them into customers. We've raised $1.5 million to date, including most recently from IBM, where we are one of only 7 quantum investments they have ever made and believe strongly enough in to invest. And in addition to Alchemist, we just learned we are one of the few finalists graduating from the Creative Destruction Lab. I'm a product and operating CEO that has built and scaled a technology company to an exit before. My co-founders are PhD scientists and engineers, formerly at the US Navy leading quantum machine learning research. And the growing team, it includes the former global program director for the Quantum Innovation Center at IBM, another exited founder and former CTO of growth companies, and a PhD from Oxford who is a quantum machine learning subject matter expert with experience at both Zapata and Xanadu. This is a carefully designed team for maximum velocity and success. We're looking to speak with partners who will understand the potential that we are unlocking, accelerate the momentum we are already experiencing, and I look forward to speaking with each and every one of you. Thank you for your time.
And that wraps up Alchemist Class 41. We've also invited in a few alums for this next section to showcase updates to our community. And you can also reach out to them if there's interest in what they are pursuing as well.
AI agents are being deployed across enterprise sales today. They can talk, but they can't sell, because nobody has taught them what works in real conversation. Spike is the behavioral training layer for AI and humans in the regulated revenue environments. We both have PhDs in AI. Furkan built ML infrastructure at AMD Research, and I pioneered multi-agent orchestration at MIT IBM Watson AI Labs. And we've been training models on human behavior for a decade. Backing us on the go-to-market, Rick, our founding CRO, scaled 5 companies from 0 to 100 million. We're a technical founding team that knows how to sell enterprise. So we are growing towards 1.8 million ARR by the end of Q2, growing 50% quarter-over-quarter. $0 spent on paid marketing, all organic so far. And our wedge is financial services, regulated, high ACV, high turnover, and every call recorded by law. That's why we're already deployed in companies like Vienna Life, a 25,000 people insurer. AI agents are great at simple labor. They can book meetings, update CRMs, execute scripts. Every AI SDR does this. But revenue is complex labor. It's judgment. What you say depends on who's on the call, what stage the deal in, what objection just came up, whether the sentiment is rising or falling. MCP gave agents the ability to act, whereas LLMs gave them general intelligence. Nobody gave them judgment. That's a $100 billion gap, and that's what we close. So how do we close that gap? 3 layers. 1, we decode. 20 proprietary models extract behavioral signals from every conversation. Not keywords, but sequences of behaviors, emotional cues, and buyer-side intent signals, generated per call and per company. 2, we coach in real time. We guide reps in the moment with what's actually working. 3, we correlate connecting those behaviors to revenue outcomes across thousands of calls. Every conversation makes the system smarter. Today, we train reps, we analyze what your best performers do differently, the sequences, the emotional signals, the intent cues, and we deploy it to the whole team in real time. Tomorrow, we train every AI agent, same behavioral data, same reward signals, real conversations with real revenue attached. Every human call we coach becomes training data for the agent layer. LLM plus MCP equals task automation. LLM plus MCP plus Spiky equals outcome automation. Our vertical focus, financial services. It's the perfect storm. 30-40% turnover, 18-month ramp, every call recorded by low. The data already exists. The intelligence layer doesn't. That's us. We already deployed at Vienna Live, QMB, and growing across the sector. Let me show you what it actually looks like, right? We analyze 12 billion insurer, 25,000 employees. They run all four spiky products end to end. Strategy evolution, real-time capture during customer calls, live coaching, and offline role play. Contractual expansion path to 8 million ARR. 28 times expansion inside a single account. That is what full platform adoption looks like in a regulated enterprise. Today we have 2 million in POCs and several million pipeline, targeting 3.2 million ARR by the end of the year. 20x expansion potential in our flagship accounts alone. We are not building this. We are scaling what's already working.
In the next decade, the world is going to consume more energy than it has consumed in the whole history. AI alone will need more energy than the grid can deliver today. Solar power has proven to be the cheapest and the fastest way to deploy new energy capacity. Last year, more than 50% of all new capacity additions were solar. I am Camilo Rojas, the founder and CEO of Sunny Bodics. I have been working in the energy industry for the last 15 years. I did work 5 years in the oil industry and then I moved forward to renewable. In my previous company, I took it from zero for more than 100 employees and over 25 million in annual revenue. Working in these projects, I realized one of the biggest challenges of renewable energy: labor shortage. That's why we founded Sunny Bodics. This problem is a massive problem in the US. By 2030, there will be expected 1 million of jobs that are missing. And also, there will need to be installed and maintained the equivalent of 2 million football fields covered with solar panels. The market for automation of the manual tasks of the construction, inspection, and maintenance of solar projects is a 10 billion market. So that's why we create Sunny Bodics. Sunny Bodics is the robotic orchestration platform for solar. We are deploying robots in the robots as a service business model for construction and maintenance of solar projects. But this is not a lab stuff. We have already deployed robots and we have cleaned over 3 million solar panels. We have generated a revenue of $600,000. Our go-to-market strategy begins in California, and then we're going to move forward to the United States, to Texas, Arizona, and other states. This summer, we are launching 4 robots, 3 for cleaning and 1 for construction of solar projects. Our team have roboticists as well as industry insiders. My co-founder is the 3rd generation of an electrical contractor family-owned business that have faced the problem of labor shortage. So we believe the future of solar construction and maintenance is going to be robotic and autonomous. So join us if you want to help us be the Waymo for critical infrastructure.
Hi, I'm Evan, co-founder and CEO of Kimono AI. We are supply chain decisions for manufacturing resilience. Manufacturing is bottlenecked by complex supply chain decisions. Factories, data centers, defense systems, AI infrastructure all depend on the right materials to the right place at the right time. Increasing volatility is causing global supply chain disruptions that lead to production line stops, costing on average $532,000 per hour. Our customer, Wilton Weavers, had this decision bottleneck. They make lightweight, fireproof aircraft carpets for Airbus and Boeing. They have an ERP system, Microsoft Dynamics 365, but one planner still carries the production decisions across Excel, 3,300 different bill of material configurations of yarn and loom capacity, using tribal knowledge to match materials and production capacity. Kimono mapped all these constraints into a decision digital twin. We're now simulating trade-offs across orders, bill of materials, yarn and loom capacity, then recommending the best production plan. And the result, on-time production has already improved from 43% to 75% and increasing. Wilton is projecting $325,000 in annual increase, demonstrating 13x ROI in just 90 days. So they've converted to ARR. We now have 3 additional paid pilots projected to convert to ARR in Q2 and 1.72 million in pipeline opportunities across 22 companies. Globally, this is a $3.3 trillion decision capacity gap, 1.7 trillion in inventory costs, and an additional 1.6 trillion in lost revenue. And 78% of planning leaders say the problem is forecast inaccuracy and misalignment using legacy ERP and supply chain planning tools. Qimodo solves this with a patented decision layer, decision digital twins, and causal AI, what-if scenarios that recommend plans, and human-in-the-loop orchestration that superpowers decision planners. I've spent 20 years commercializing optimization software for large, complex enterprises. And my co-founder, Dr. Harish, brings 27 years of causal AI and multi-agent systems research at Panasonic and EPFL, where he did his PhD. Together, we've built the decision layer for manufacturing resilience. This is the bottom-up market math. Qimodo's business model is simple. We charge 10% of decision value. Decision value is the measurable economic impact of better decisions: recovered revenue, avoided production delays, lower expedite costs, inventory reduction, and better procurement outcomes. For a mature customer, 5 million of decision value becomes 500K of ARR. So 200 million of ARR requires 400 mature customers, which we're projecting to hit by 2030. Our ICP is manufacturers generating 50 million revenue and up with complex supply chains. We start with paid pilots led by our forward deployed engineers with fast implementation and proof of value in 8 to 12 weeks. Our patented decision tracker proves ROI, drives conversion to ARR, where we then expand across departments and professional services. If you invest in manufacturing, invest in the decisions that make supply chains resilient. Thank you.
And that's the Alchemist Demo Day. What'd you think? We love hearing from you, so please drop us a note. We also are back in person again. We're doing much more events in San Francisco. And so if you want to stay connected or get more involved, please reach out. We would love to see you in person and hope you and yours have a fantastic summer.